So they lied to me. I can't even sue, even though it cost me mega amounts of money. So I thought I'd do a video inside today in front of the wood stove. It's raining, cold and windy. We're getting gusts of 50-mile-an-hour winds. A lot of people love the fire. I get better watch time when I make a video in front of the fire. I guess people get mesmerized about it. It's important on YouTube that you get good watch time. The longer people watch a video, the better it does. A lot of people ask me how I keep my glass so clean. Well, there's two things going on here. Most importantly, number one way to keep your glass clean is use cured firewood. It's got to be 20% or less. If you're running wet wood, green wood, what happens is that moisture, creosote, sticks to the window. So what you're seeing on your window is also in your chimney, which can cause a fire because it builds up and becomes this tar. A couple years ago when we first did this wood stove, we had all that green wood, I've told you about it. It was dripping in clumps of tar onto the roof. And we had chimney fires. People say, well, just burn it hot, it gets rid of that. Well, or you could just burn dry firewood and you have a nice, beautiful fire with a clean window. I probably haven't cleaned this window in maybe a week. And the only reason I clean it is, and there's no offense to this, I'm not trying to be offensive. When Carolyn starts the wood stove, she does it at midnight, right before she goes to bed. And she doesn't allow the chimney to get hot enough. So what you're supposed to do is when you light it, you leave this open for about 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes. When the chimney gets hot, then you close it and it draws your heat in, the air, and it just draws it up. So the chimney is a major function of the wood stove. Well, since she's tired, she wants to go to bed, she closes a little bit early. And what happens is that smoke settles down in here and the air tubes don't have a chance to burn it off. I've talked about the air tubes. It's a reburner. And so it sits down there until the air tubes get hot enough to burn it off, so it kind of sticks to the glass. It's dust. It's not that tarry substance. So the dust covers the window, so I have to clean it. No big deal. But one day this last year, I ran a wet piece of wood. I saw it bubbling. Water was coming out of it. I don't know why it was wet. I check every piece that comes into this house. But what happened is that bubbling splattered onto the window and it caused that tar to stick to the window. And it takes days for it to burn off and clean off. If you do get it dirty, all you gotta do is take a washcloth, a wet washcloth. We use wet wipes. Dip it in a little bit of ash. I don't know why this works, but it's about the only thing that does work, and it wipes right off. That first year, it was terrible. It got to a point where you couldn't even see the fire in it. I want to get to the bulk of this video now. A lot of stuff is going on in the country and in the world, and it's interesting. It's a big distraction. Everything's a distraction to keep you scared and dependent on the government. And I'm not. I'm not scared and I'm not dependent. This video may seem like it's going to go in a bunch of different directions, but it all has a point, and I hope I'm able to keep everything organized in my head well enough so I can give you the point. But I've been seeing a lot of off-grid channels and prepper channels talking about aliens. What it is we got these balloons coming down. I don't even know if they're balloons. I know the first one was supposed to be a balloon. It traveled across the country. We shot it down over the ocean in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, which I was there just not that long ago. Carolyn and I both were. And then we have, three others, one in Canada, one in Alaska, and then one in Lake Huron or something. And they're shooting these down with $500,000 missiles, which is actually more concerning to me than the balloons themselves. Well, all of a sudden, they start talking about aliens. I just watched a video from a guy who I like a lot. I've watched him for like 9 years now. I've watched him forever on YouTube. And he was talking about this theory, this idea that if the economy is bad and the president's not doing so good, inflation's at risk and we're at risk for a depression, all we have to do is introduce aliens into our airspace, get people afraid, and then we can start investing into how to defeat the aliens. And then when the economy recovers with all this war effort, then we can say, oh, our mistake, it wasn't aliens. What they've done is they injected a bunch of money into the economy. That's what happened in World War II. We went into World War II in the Great Depression. As soon as the war started, the government was able to inject a lot of money into making war machines and the economy recovered. A lot of things were being invented at the same time. Same thing with World War I. Things were being invented. Well, with invention becomes more people spending more money on things and more people getting jobs to build these things, these new inventions. The old war, we were all getting kind of tired of. Over there in Afghanistan, we were getting tired of it. Been at it for 20 years. How long is this war going to last? Well, that's all right. Let's just do this ridiculous withdrawal. Then we'll get into another war. We're spending billions of dollars and sending it over to a European country to defend themselves from another European country, European/Asian country. Well, and this pumps money back into the economy. We've spent so much money over there that we can't even defend ourselves if something were to happen. Well, then all of a sudden we have this big balloon float across the United States. Well, of course we got to take caution on this because it's another big country who doesn't like us. So now we got one big country doesn't like us picking a fight with a little country that does like us. So now we have a Asian country trying to pick a fight with us over another little country. It's funny how all this is starting to happen right now, right when we're inside this massive inflation that we haven't seen since I was a little kid. I don't even remember the inflation, but I remember the stories about it. Well, none of this is really fixing the economy. All these wars and all these threats. So what are we going to do? Well, maybe we should try this theory that will introduce aliens into the picture, and then people will start saying, oh, okay, raise our taxes. Let's go and invent some things to defeat the aliens. Let's make some laser guns. And, they're going to try to do whatever they can to convince us that there's a alien invasion. Well, of course, in the beginning, this sounds ridiculous. Wait a minute, aliens? No. I'm not buying any aliens. Well, then, we just kind of introduce the idea. We'll have one of the media stations, maybe CNN's, bring it up in a newscast. Well, one of the pilots was saying it had its own propulsion system and it moved very strangely. Well, it could be aliens. Well, then the White House comes out and says, oh, no, it's not aliens. And then, so what do? They send the general out of NORAD. Well, I'm not ready to make any commitments on what it could be when asked if it was aliens. So another bigwig out there. So we got the media and the general. The only person that's not saying it yet is the White House. Oh, okay, so we're back to being cautious. Is this the general doesn't know what it is. NORAD was established, I think, 60 years ago. And they haven't had to do a thing in 60 years. We've never shot a thing down since their establishment. But all of a sudden, they've shot, 4 things down. We have invested so much money into this organization that they have so much left over that they have the Santa Tracker. Computer program on the internet where you can go on in Christmas time and watch Santa across the world. They got so much money rolling in, they don't know what to do with it. Wow, no problem. But when a balloon crosses our path, it's like, oh, what's that? We don't even know. No, we didn't see it. Apparently, they've been sending these things over for years, and NORAD has never picked up on this. Well, that's strange. We spend all this money, so much money, that they got so much money left over that they can have a Santa tracker, but they can't pick up a hot air balloon? How is it they can track Santa? I know I'm being a little silly here. The internet device that they have to spend money on each year could be invested on how do we track hot air balloons crossing over at 60,000 feet. Well, then they see another thing. They're not even sure what it is. They're saying it might be a hot air balloon. It might not be. It could be aliens. And it traversed to Alaska, and it made it into Alaska before they spotted it. And they didn't spot it with NORAD's massive technology. They spotted it with radar. Well, of course, radar is limited by the curvature of the Earth. The third one, we had to shoot at twice because we missed it. This is all very strange. So it's building up that they're going to need more money. Oh, we missed the first one, so we're going to have to invest more money. Oh, we missed the third one, so we're going to need more money. And so we're just scared and we're pumping money into it. And pretty soon we're going to have laser guns that fights the aliens. I'm excited about that. Pretty soon Jean-Luc Picard will be trucking across the universe. This will also do something else that now that I've brought up Star Trek, is it's supposed to help unite the world into one government instead of having a bunch of countries. If you watch Star Trek, that was the whole premise of the idea, was the world had to come together in order for us to deal with the Vulcans. The Vulcans wanted us as a united world. So this is how they're going to get a one government, by introducing aliens. All these YouTube channels are all talking about how scary this is and it's crazy. Well, what they're doing is they're trying to pick up on the algorithm. When you have a YouTube channel, you're supposed to stick with what's called a niche. What is your niche? My niche is off-grid. I try to talk about a bunch of things in off-grid. My niche is actually too big. I should narrow down my niche according to YouTube and maybe just talk about firewood, or maybe just talk about chickens, and keep my niche very small. That way, I don't have two different audiences, one that's interested in firewood and one that's interested in chickens. And when I'm dealing with firewood, only the audience that likes firewood watch my videos. But then on the other hand, YouTube likes to say, if there's a big event going on, then you're supposed to talk about this big event, just like I'm doing. I'm talking about aliens. It has nothing to do with off-grid, but I'm talking about aliens. So all these YouTube channels are trying to figure out how to combine aliens into their niche. I told you I was going to try to tell you how I'm not worried about it. The reason is because I only worry about the things I can control. I can control the heat in my house. I've shown this a million times. I got all that firewood out there, 15 years of firewood, 15 cords of firewood. And here I am sitting in front of a fire, making a video, keeping my coffee warm. Carolyn's got some cornbread cooking back there for the chickens. We've got some canned food. We got a freezer full of food. We got some solar panels making our own electric. These are the things I can control. I don't have to do much outside of this. I consider myself, 90% self-sustaining? And I don't think it would take very much effort to become 100% self-sustaining. I think this year we could have been 100% self-sustaining, except we had a dog attack some chickens, so we lost 9 chickens to a dog attack. We've refined our process so the dogs can't hurt our chickens in the future. So hopefully by this time next year, we'll be 100% self-sustaining. We will not need to go outside this place. So when aliens come, I have to leave that into God's hands. I gotta leave that there because there's nothing I can do about it. They want more tax dollars. That is the one thing that is out of my control. That is one thing I can't is taxes. As long as I'm making money, I have to pay taxes. I would like to figure out a way to get off of taxes where I don't have to pay taxes anymore. The truck is the only reason I have to make money. I have to make YouTube videos so I can make some money so I can pay for those things, but the bulk of my paycheck goes to taxes. Well, now they're going to want to raise my taxes so we can fight the aliens. And this is what you can do. Stop worrying about what the YouTubers are saying about the aliens. Start worrying about, how can I get some firewood for free? 15 years of it, no cost. It can be done because I've done it. So if you click this up next box, take you to a video where I was talking about